Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our match preview, Aston Villa v Crystal Palace. We are back, getting no international breaks now till 2025. So that's done and dusted. We haven't got to hear Matterface and Dixon for a while. Oh my God. Absolutely horrendous stuff. But Ryan, how you doing?
Very well, mate. Very well. This is a very special game for me, this is, mate, because I'm taking my son, my 5-year-old son, Ralph, to his first ever Villa game. And I was buzzing when I brought him a ticket. I've moved from the Holt end to the North upper so we can both sit together and he's got a seat. So I was buzzing when I brought him the ticket. Got absolutely buzzing. And every day he says, how many days is it until the game? How many days? So my excitement for this game is like proper ramping up. So it's gonna be a special day on a personal note for me.
Yeah, I know him, and I cut his hair. I know he'll be giving it the big one to the away fans. He'll be getting Larry in that north stand. He will. So right, it's a bit of something we've got to do first. We've got to get this algorithm back going, Villa fans. So I want 800 likes on this episode. So if you enjoy it, you're enjoying the content, make sure you are smashing the like button. Let's get back into the swing of things now and share your thoughts on everything that we discuss on this episode. Ryan, international breaks sometimes aren't great, and we've had a couple that have pulled out, not even got there, gone back. Matson, Pau, we've had Konsa come back a game early. Onana is now injured for 2 to 3 weeks, but there has been 4 shining lights, which is what we want, and they are shining lights in the attacking area. I mean, Aston Villa's attack, we've spoke about it, we all know it, we know it's not quite purring, but if you're thinking about it, our left back has got 2 assists and a goal in one game for France. Our striker's got 1 goal on his start for England. Rodgers got a semi-assist on his England debut. And McGinn got 2 goals for Scotland. So that's 4 attacking players that will be coming back to Villa full of confidence, with goals on their mind, ready to fire goals past Crystal Palace. So that's a pretty good international break for those 4 players.
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag though, hasn't it, with the injuries? But those that are on the pitch, superb, especially John McGinn. You know, we've heard Unai talking about extracting the super bit back into his game and getting McGinn firing and back on form. And look, that's massive. And goals just is the ultimate confidence booster. And for McGinn to go back-to-back goals, especially the one he scored the other night, it was last minute, wasn't it? So that's an even bigger boost. And then Ollie Watkins playing in front of Harry Kane. You know, you've got to step in. You know the drama that goes hand in hand with the England captain being dropped, and there's a bit of heightened pressure for you coming into the England side, but he replied with a goal, so that's huge as well. And like you say, Rodgers, just to get on the pitch and cap off what has been an absolutely unreal year for him. For 2024, he was playing for Middlesbrough at the start of the year in January. So to cap off the year as an England international is absolutely superb, and we just got to hope that the pullouts of Pau and Matson are precautionary and they're available for Saturday, because if not, we're looking very thin on the ground. But a bit of a mixed bag. So hopefully, if the players come back and they're fit and available, then it's been a decent break for Aston Villa.
Yeah, I've already been prepping the we call it predicted lineup, but I don't think I'm going to call it that this week, because it could be anything. So I think one thing I will say about France, that kit's naughty. That white shirt is very naughty. And Digne, I mean, the deliveries he put in that game, the free kick was just unbelievable. The corner and the free kick, which led to Rabiot's goals. That was like pinpoint Luca Dean to a T. That left foot just pinging them balls in. So I think he did amazing, and a lot what you've said about Rodgers. It was so good to see him get on the pitch in both games, and when everyone started scoring, I was thinking, I just love Rodgers just to get on the end of something, but it wasn't to be. You'll have to wait, and we'll have to see what Thomas Tuchel does with England now, because Carsley's literally called up pretty much everybody going within the ranks. So let's see what he does with it, really. So I really wanted to just touch on something a little bit different before we get into the main Crystal Palace things. And we've been speaking about this Villa side and what we need and what we lack. So I set you a challenge, and I asked you to, and I'd love everybody at home to play along. Make sure you're smashing the likes as well, to pick any player from any Premier League team, realistically, that you would like to sign for Aston Villa. So it's got to be a realistic position. Might not be a realistic player that would come to Villa, but that's a different story. Well, mine's a realistic one, but I don't think he'd come. But that's just a different debate. So what's yours, Ryan?
There's one player so far who we've played against this season who I've been impressed with, and that was Semedo of Bournemouth. I thought he had an absolutely superb game. And there's not many games where you walk away and look at the opposition player and go, you know what, tidy player, nice player, someone that catches your attention. Normally you're so engrossed with your own team and your own players, but Semedo, for me, he was on that left-hand side, wasn't he, against us, and cutting inside and pinging balls. The way he moved around the pitch, it was Eze-like, wasn't it? He's really good. His movement was great. He's got a bit of swagger as well, which I really liked. So for me, I think Semedo, and I think, that's an achievable target, I think, on that left-hand side as well. Like, just to bring that little bit of a link up, he's very tidy.
Mine's a player that we haven't played yet, but I just think every time I watch him, I just think he's quality, man. Gusto from Chelsea. He's like amazing on that right hand side, on that right back role, and the way he gets forward. And he played really well against us last season. And he's a player that, some of his stats this season: 1.1 interceptions, 2.1 tackles per game, 3.9 ball recoveries per game, 1.6 clearances per game. He's a player that I think would walk into our side, and I think he would improve us massively. So let's turn our attention then to Crystal Palace, and a team that I think a lot of people would be shocked with how they're doing compared to last season. I don't think I'm that shocked, because I don't think I lighted them as much as what I think people were doing after the end of last season, because I think when you look at the league towards the end of a season, there's always those couple of them teams that are around 14th, 15th that start to get a bit of something going, and they end the season really well. And I think Palace were on that crest of a wave. I think there's this kid on Twitter that did a real tactical thread on our last game of the season, and everyone's just like, mate, we're on the beach, mate. Like, and he's broke it down and everything, and like, fair play to him, but like, you don't really want to break that down, because it's pretty irrelevant, really. But they've sold two big players in Elise and Anderson. I know you were a big fan of Anderson, and this season they've just not quite got it going. Like, I am going to do a real big tactical piece on them, so that'll be out tomorrow, so you'll be able to check that out. But yeah, it's not as free flowing. It's not as attacking. It's a bit midfield's a little bit loose. It's a bit open. That two they're playing in the middle. There's space. There's gaps, and Mateta's not quite firing on all cylinders like last year. And I think you take Elise out of any team, and that link up with Eze is just, it's not there, is it, anymore? Because he plays for Bayern Munich, and we saw how much of a threat he was when he had that shot and it just skimmed our crossbar. So what have you made of Palace this season, and Glasner and the way that they play?
Yeah, like you touched on, it was a fantastic end of season running, wasn't it? Like you say, some teams get on the beach, and I think because you change manager, just give it that little bit of a lift. But this season, I think they've just had a real bad window. Like you say, losing Elise is massive. Like they've lost like Zaha in the past before, so they sort of know how to deal with it. But like you touched on there, Anderson was a big one for me. Big experience, big leadership, and I'd even go as far as like Ayew. Like they let Ayew go to Leicester, and you know. He scored a couple of goals, but again, it's that experience. So you've lost like 2 stalwarts there from that team, and I don't think they really replaced them very well. Yeah, and then like you say, Nketiah, he didn't have a pre-season. He went to the Olympics with France, didn't he? He scored goals, and I'm sure it's a brilliant tournament for him to play in. And you know, Olympic, I think they come second. I think didn't they? So he's got a silver medal, but. You look now and it's kind of disjointed their pre-season. You know, they had quite a few English lads as well, didn't they? At the Euros, 4 lads there. So their pre-season has been a bit disjointed in getting players back. And then you put on top of that the injuries they've had. Now, we've all had injuries. Everyone in the league now seems to be having injury crisis after injury crisis. But it's hit Palace bad. You know, Wharton, who are a really, really nice, tidy player. He's out, Eze's out as well. So that's big, isn't it? That is really big for Crystal Palace. But looking at their results and the games they've played, like they're rocking up to Villa Park, 18th in the league, and like when the team rocks up 18th, you think, okay, 11 games in, probably they've been smacked a few times, but nobody has really done that to them. Like, you know, their biggest defeat is 2-0. They've not conceded more than 2 goals in one game. And I've written down some stats there. They've got 2 clean sheets compared to our 1. The goals they've conceded on average is 1.36 a game, and we're on 1.55. But here lies their problem. Goals scored, they're on 0.73 a game, where we're on 1.55. So they're no mugs. They're tough. You know, we did in the cup, didn't they? You know, they're quite capable of coming to Villa Park and getting the result. So, you know, this ain't an easy game. You know, you look at someone after 11 games, they've only won 1. They're in the relegation zone. They're, I don't know, 3 or 4 points adrift. You think it's going to be easy, but it's not. This is still a difficult Crystal Palace team, and I expect a difficult game. But I also expect us to come out with a point to prove on Saturday and really go for them.
As Villa stats go, there's one thing in the back of my head that I'm thinking, Villa, not this time. Palace are yet to win away from home in the Premier League. So let's not give out Christmas presents in the end of November. Let's do the job. But you mentioned their team, like Eze. I mean, we don't need to talk about Eze because we all know how good he is. But one player that I really like, and he just catches my eye, is Munoz. I just think on that right hand side, he's attacking, he's vibrant. You know, low socks, just like that little bit of swagger that he's got as well. But one player that I don't know how you feel about this, Nketiah. So Arsenal in and out, doing okay. Sort of had that part in their team when I think it was not last season, the season before, when I think Jesus must have been injured and Nketiah had a bit of a chance to sort of stake his claim, and he scored the odd goal, but he didn't really impress that much. And Palace have paid big money for him. It's not quite worked out as it, you know, it's Mateta's the main guy, and Nketiah might play off him. But if everybody's fit, so if Eze's fit, if Kamada's fit, then or available, then that's probably you're 2 in behind, and he's just not quite sort of hit the ground really at all. So I'd like to get your thoughts on Nketiah. Really, do you rate him or not?
I do rate him. I rated him at Arsenal. He's a talented player, a really talented player, intelligent player. Like you say, he had his opportunity, but he just couldn't quite nail it down. And he gets his move to Palace, which I'm thinking is a good move. You know, stayed in London, and like you say, he can't quite dislodge Mateta. Like he's playing him the games I've seen on the left. Like, and he's like ineffective there. Like, Nketiah is a striker, a poacher. Like, he needs to be in and around the box, or at least playing off Mateta, but a bit closer, a bit more central. He's definitely got Premier League goals in him. You know, he's been called up for England. You know, he's been capped for England. He's a very good player. And then if you sort of compare what Smith Rowe's doing, for example, at Fulham, like, both of them have come through the ranks together at Arsenal. Smith Rowe's gone to Fulham and he's just excelling, isn't he? Like, he's man of the match every week. He's getting goals, assists. And then I kind of expected that for Nketiah as well, but it's just not happening at the minute. But he's gone into a team that's like struggling, still trying to find out who they are. And when you're not playing in the right position, it's tough. You know, when you're not winning games, it's tough. You know, for Smith Rowe, he's gone into Fulham and they're absolutely flying, settled, nice structure, and he's fitted in well. But there's still a player in there, definitely a player in there.
So you're telling me that a team's got a main striker and the second striker can't really get in the team, and when he does get in, it doesn't quite work, does it? That sounds quite familiar. Yeah. That does, mate. There's another team that are a bit like that. So Villa, then you're taking your lad. So I imagine that game's going to have sort of like a special sort of feeling for you. But you know, I know you. You're gonna tell him to be quiet and you're gonna concentrate on the game. So what are you hoping to see from Villa then? Because a lot's been made, especially from me and Earl and everything that we've done some episodes, and we did our episode all together as well, and we've highlighted that this next phase of the season is really important. It feels like yeah, we're probably going to have some injuries, but everybody does that. Going into this now, no excuse now. We've got to hit the ground running, haven't we?
Yeah, I think if we want to play European football again next season, we do need to hit the ground running, because this league is tight. And I know we've said we're only 1 point off third, which we are, but third place to 11th place, there's only 3 points in it. Third place to 13th place, Man United, there's only 4 points in it. So that is a big clunk of teams there. Like, and if you are not consistent, and you're just going to get left behind sooner or later, there's going to be packs that just move away. So while it looks good now that we're only a point behind, 3 games time, it's 5-6 points, and you're chasing. And I feel for us now is a time to, let's get some consistency going. Let's get some momentum going. We know what we need to do. You need to be around the 2 points a game averaging. That's what we need to get up to. And we've sat back. We've had a look at what we're doing. Now we've had the international break, and we can see the shift and the change and the style changes. And we've highlighted where people are isolated and where it's breaking down and what we're doing differently. But now is the time for the players and Emery to bring it all together now and a real push on into this Christmas period, because it's the games are going to come thick and fast, aren't they, Luke? You know, we've got big games. We've got this game, and then it's Juventus next at Villa Park. So they just keep rolling, and we need to keep rolling with it. And I think we will. I think come Saturday, I think this international break, refresh Emery a bit, refresh the coaches. You got the players that are left behind, which will be chomping at the bit as well. So hopefully come back, they'll all be settled. Emery will get his clipboard out, reveal the master plan for the Crystal Palace game, and we go out and execute it. Because you know, we've had, I know it's been 4 games, 4 defeats spread out across 3 competitions. You know, in the league, it was Liverpool and Tottenham away, which any team, you know, can go to them places and lose. Before that was Bournemouth, which I still believe was our best performance of the season. Not the best result, but the best performance. And Fulham before that, which we were absolutely terrific. Yeah. So I feel like we can get back on track. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And I feel like we are in a position now to kick on.
2 players that I think will be, one will be big for him being back is Matty Cash, because I think on that right-hand side it can help a lot. Then I also feel like he's going to help the player that plays in front of Matty Cash, which potentially will be Leon Bailey. So just talk to me on both of those, because a lot's been made of Bailey and I think his form and how he's playing, and he's been with Jamaica now, so he'll be coming back and he should be fit, ready, available to play. So it feels like to me that getting that right hand side locked in will be big for us, sort of like moving forward. Me and Earl did an episode on sort of like the evolution under Emery, and I know you're quite big on sort of looking at how we're building from the back, and it's now going into Tielemans more as opposed to Luka Dean, etc. So we are doing things a bit differently. One thing that we pointed out was the distance between Rodgers and Watkins compared to Watkins and Diaby. And Bailey's position looks like he's coming inside a little bit more. And I picked up on the fact that I think if he's coming inside, he needs to be offering something for Rodgers when Rodgers drops a little bit deeper. So I just want to get your thoughts on sort of the system at / Bailey / Cash on where you're at on that side, especially.
Yeah, all don't quite feel right with Bailey. Like his head's down a bit, like loose touches. He's getting dispossessed quite a lot. All his stats are down. So this international break, I've sort of been looking at it, saying, what is up with Leon Bailey? And I do feel like he's quite isolated. Like, you touched on the right back. That's probably been our most inconsistent position due to personnel. Like, we've had Cash in there, Nedeljkovic in there, Konza in there, Matty Cash in there when fit. And I think Cash is the player that we want there. We want the natural fullback. Yeah, we want two natural fullbacks. So in that aspect there, he's not really had any support. And then, like you say, Diaby's gone out the team, and like he's lost that support network on that side. Rodgers, like I've picked on this a few times and mentioned it on the podcast, that he kind of gravitates to the left. He doesn't really shift over to the right. So Bailey hasn't got any link-ups or networks. When he was playing a bit further forward last season, sort of alongside Watkins, and he'd move out to the right, he'd have like a McGinn behind him, and a Kamara inside of him. It just feels like he's been isolated, and where he's picking the ball up is deeper. So there's a lot more ground to make up. Statistically, he's having more touches in the defensive half and the midfield half than he is in the forward half, and you need Bailey picking up that ball in that dangerous areas and going at the last man. And I feel like he's just too deep at the minute, so there's not any connections on that right hand side, and I think that's why Bailey's suffering. And I feel like, does he look physically comfortable? I don't know whether it's because of his form that he doesn't look physically comfortable, and I feel like Bailey needs to be 100%, 100% trusting his body, which I feel like he's not at the minute, and 100% mentally clear and confident in his ability. Because any factors that get knocked, it seems to knock him for six. Watkins is the same. I feel like Watkins needs to be 100% to fully perform. So I feel like he's picking up a bit. He's bagged himself a couple of assists. He got an assist against Bournemouth in the last home game, and historically, he's always better at Villa Park. So I feel like it's getting the team around him now and giving him that support, because no one's slipping him in. He's making runs behind the back. No one has really got that technical ability that side to split a pass and play him through. And he's picking the ball up and just having to run at people. And if you run and lose the ball, get dispossessed, or you don't beat your man and it happens again, head's gone. He's trying to do it all on his own. So I feel like we do need to get a network of support around him, and having Matty Cash back on that right hand side would help.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, because I mean, any winger up against a fullback, they're gonna lose more than they win. That's just the way in which a winger works. You're not going to win more than you lose, are you?
Yeah, and I feel like Rodgers needs to help out as well. I feel like he needs to to create link-ups with Bailey and Watkins. There needs to be a triangle there as well, which is difficult because Rodgers is so young. You know, he's only just coming into the team, and there's a lot of responsibility being given to him to pick that ball up and drive. And like he's naturally picking it up on that left-hand side, and he's doing bits there. But for Rodgers now, he's got to try and evolve it and try and be that linchpin for the right and the left.
Yeah, I think it's fair in everything you're saying, and I think the one thing for Rodgers is he's got to learn the right pass at times and learn when to play it and play it quickly, etc. And I think that decision making is something that hopefully he's really working on, and making the right decisions and just working for the team really. So yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on really. I think what I've sort of wanted from this break is that there is that bit of a reset, but there's that little bit of sort of just a freshen up of the vibe and the tactics, and everybody's fully back on like tunnel vision for like how we're meant to be playing, etc. And because the one thing that I don't want to do is come back on here on Sunday and sort of be saying like that system right, or that didn't quite right there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we can't be like that now because it's getting too far into the season, and I think we can't have these patterns of sort of things that we can all spot a patterns that we aren't doing well. We've got to sort of like break that mold now and just get it going really. So I do think we're going to win at the weekend. I think we're going to be right up for it. I think it's going to be one of them where it's proper Unai Emery at Villa Park. There's just that intensity about it, and I think we, even in the cup game, I thought, we were recycling possession quite easy against Palace. They were in their shape. We had most of the ball, and yeah, we didn't win the game. But if you look at the team that they put out compared to what we put out, I thought we were the better team, like possession wise. I thought we were just lacking that little bit of the creativity from a lot of our really good players. So I think if it follows that pattern again, I think it'll be a Villa win, and I think we'll win 3-1. So what are you going with?
You know what? I'm desperate for a clean sheet. I want a clean sheet. I do. We've only had one all season, so I want a good defensive performance. I want a good goalkeeping performance. So I'm pinning it on a 2-0 win. I am.
Yeah, I want to hear about your son's limbs and everything in the North Stand then. So
where we are, T1, so we're right by the away fans. So should be a good atmosphere. But to be fair, if Palace manage to fill the upper tier, they normally just bring the lower tier, don't they? So we'll see what sort of support they bring.
Yeah, I don't think they've got the upper either. I think they've got. I think they've just got the lower. So yeah. So I doubt their atmosphere will probably be any good anyway. So right, Villa fans, thank you all for watching. Make sure you are smashing the likes. Let's go for 800. Comment your thoughts and up the Villa.
Up that Villa.